Am I the only one who struggles to use the clear embellishments that are so popular right now? Like clear stickers and acetate pieces, included in embellishment packs. I think they are a really neat idea, but then when I go to put them on my layouts, they become difficult to read, or even tell what they are. How can I use them? Glitter Girl, can you help?
Of course I can. Transparent elements like die cuts and stickers can be used in layering to great effect, so that's what I'm going to show you today. And I've pulled out a few different types of transparent elements, elements that have a different level of transparency. So these are die cuts that are printed acetate, so a design on top of a transparency that comes already cut. Of course, there are products that are full 12 by 12 sheets or smaller sizes that are meant to be used as big pieces of transparency, but I'm just going to focus on smaller, more decorative embellishment type pieces today. So that's a die cut, and it comes in a pack with normal cardstock die cuts, but some of the die cuts are transparent, so I've chosen that one. Likewise, stickers. Some stickers are printed on cardstock with the adhesive on the back, so you don't see through them at all. Some stickers are printed on a clear material, so there's no white to the background here. The white you're seeing is actually the paper that they are kept on. So I have those stickers, and then also some elements that are more like the material from washi tape. So it's semi-transparent, but a little bit more color than what you would get in the super clear versions there. So I've pulled out this alphabet from a Studio Calico kit, which is printed and cut from basically washi tape. It's that sort of material. It's a paper that's adhesive on the back and semi-transparent. And these strips, likewise, they're both Studio Calico products, and you get some transparency, but you also get quite a lot of the design. Okay, so let's see where this can go. It's going to be the trick to the clear stuff is going to come in the layering. So I need to get a page at least started, so that I can then add those pieces into the layering. And I have a few photos today. I'm going to use this one big 4x6 print that I absolutely love. And then I printed 5 of these small squares, but I don't think I'm going to use all of them. I think I'll use about 3 to help tell the story. But these photos are not as awesome as this one. I love how the light and everything hits this one, but I do still love this big explosion of color. Where these, there's so much of the slide that basically the whole square photo is orange, and he looks orange, where here, once he's out of the slide, you can see the daylight and see him in true color. So that's why I printed these small. They're not my favorites, but I really love how they tell the story of him coming down the slide, and then this one is definitely my favorite. I pulled out a whole bunch of different pattern papers, and I wanted to use this orange and ombre print from Basic Gray as my background, but it's not going to be the majority of the layout because I think that would just be too much orange. So this is going to be the outside frame, and then I'm going to use aqua and cream on this middle section with also a little bit of navy blue to have a darker frame around the edge. I decided I would go with this paper being 8.5 by 11 in inches, and then I just picked all my other dimensions from there. So the navy blue is going to be a frame to separate the cream from the orange, to just give a little bit of contrast so that I have a light paper, a dark paper, and a kind of mid-tone paper. And then this one is going to go across here. So this one is also 8.5, but it's about 4.5 tall, which I'm thinking will work well with my 4x6 photo, so that I have this band of color across the middle that's going to draw some attention to the big photo. That's my plan. This navy is a Basic Gray, but from a different Basic Gray collection than the orange. And then this text print and also the aqua are both from Starshine. So, and with the ombre, I almost always use the darker edge at the bottom so that it's a bit like a horizon. And I've brought back brown ink to my table. I'd put it away for another project a while back and just hadn't brought it back yet. And a few people had said, did you give up inking? No, I just put it away and hadn't felt compelled to bring it back. But today I felt compelled, so there we go. Okay, so I have this big photo. Yeah, that's what I wanted it to do. I wanted something with this lighter, but not, so it's a light color that's not going to compete with these bright tones that are in the picture, but it's also not going to get washed out like this text print that's pale enough that it's going to kind of fade into the background. That was what I was after. So this is going to go there. I've cut my squares and I want to choose the 3 best ones, I think. So this one is hands in front of his face. That's not quite as exciting. And I think this one of the just about to set off is a little bit better to tell the story. And I'm wondering, I originally thought I would have them here, but where one is different than the other two, I don't like this balance of the heavy over here and then those steps, but that's chronological order. So why don't I do them vertically? And these two are actually basically the same point in time. My friend took the picture inside the slide and I didn't realize, and I was at the bottom of the slide taking a picture up, so it's just a happy coincidence. And I could pull these two down to the bottom so that I have this kind of vertical line that lines up with where he is in the picture. And I'll need some more layering behind there to help with the vertical. But I think that's a good start and feels like the right number of photos. So the 1 big one and 3 smaller ones. Now, to start adding in some different things and get some color going. Well, this one, I thought I would start with this print. You can see how much you get through it. Now, a few things that I wanted to do. You're going to be able to see that text through, but not so much that you can't read the text on top. So I like that bit of the layering where you're going to see a little bit, but not everything. It just gives you that much more depth, which is why layering is so much fun. But also because this has straight lines and the print behind has straight lines, I can put it on just this tiny little angle and it's going to really emphasize that it's not straight. So it's going to give motion, and this story is all about motion of coming down the slide. So I don't want it to be too static. I want there to be a little bit of organic movement. So that helps me there. Now, I also want to use these to spell out the word slide, which I want it to be a little bit more subtle than the title, but unfortunately in this instance I wish that I had the whole alphabet in this tone, but I don't. And all but one letter is going to be pink. So it may look too heavy and too girly and obvious. Not that pink is, that the pink girly thing is an issue with my pages at all. I use a lot of pink on his pages. It doesn't bother me, but I know plenty of people who also don't love the idea of pink on boy pages. It is neither here nor there. But you can see there is some transparency to these letters. That's what I want you to be able to see here. And I know the pink is going to be really bright and overpowering at this point, but my plan is that I'm going to layer things over these letters too. So hopefully that will calm the pink down just a little bit. I think a matte to give these smaller photos a little bit of brighter color will give them a little bit more anchoring. So I'm going to cut that from this cloud print by Bella Boulevard and just have a little box around each one. Let's see if that, yeah, it just brightens it up a little bit, and I think will help with the layering in this vertical strip. Before I attach this big one, I'm going to do this column, and I thought it might help to bring in possibly both. I think definitely this darker blue, even though it's not the same dark blue as that one. So I'm going to just give this a little bit a little bit of a vertical line on a slight angle here. And then add these photos. Oh, and that blue is only just barely going to show. That's okay. And then the big photo over the top. Okay. Now, what about the elements that are really clear, like this one? So I can use this in different parts of the page, and I can move it around to see exactly where I want it to fit. And I think my best bet is that I want it on this cream background, because I haven't left a huge amount of room for it here, and it needs to be on something that's a little bit pale in order for these darker bits to show. So where this edge of the photo is dark, it's not going to work. Now, it would have worked, like the word dreams works fine over something like the orange, but then of course I'm going to lose the orange wording. So it works quite well on the cream. And I have also this rocket that matches from one of the papers. So I think it might work well to plan to have that opposite this. And maybe instead of working on that angle, I need to work on this sort of angle. So maybe this is going to come over here and this down here. Now the clear stickers, you can use them straight onto the pattern, or you can, of course, put them onto either cream or white cardstock if you want to be able to use them a little bit more like any ordinary sticker. But the fact that you can put it on either white or cream or even pale blue or gray or anything gives you that little bit more flexibility. Whereas if it's printed on white, it's on white. And it might not look right with a pattern paper like this that has the cream. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one straight onto the paper so that you'll have an example of what it looks like that way. But I'm also going to use some that are added to paper so that you can see the difference. So I can take something like this star, just so that I have one that's nice and simple to cut out. And I can pop it onto cream, where if this had been a sticker that was printed on white cardstock backing from the beginning, then I wouldn't have had an easy way to make it coordinate with the cream paper. Just gives me that a little bit more flexibility, even if I'm making it into a non-transparent item, basically, by only having one color show through. And then I can ink these edges a little bit if I want. It's time for some dimension in this, so let's add some dots to the back and start a little grouping over here in this corner. I have two things I want to make sure I do before I get carried away with too many clear embellishments. One is that I want to make sure I don't run out of room for my journaling, so I'm going to decide that my journaling is going to go in this space. I may end up adding a different paper on top if this proves a little too difficult to write on, but it's not too dark. So I think I might be able to write straight onto that box, but it's going to go in this space one way or another. The other thing is I want to do something to bring this pink into the design, because since I decided to put the pink here, right now it's a real kind of red herring where there's no pink anywhere else. And to make it feel like it's not so out of place, I need to add a little bit of pink to other places in the layout. I don't want it to be huge, so I've pulled out some pink die cuts and pink pieces cut out from pattern paper, and I'm going to mix it with navy to try and bring the colors and the contrast together. So we're going to have that little bit of pink at the top, but then, whoops, but most of it covered by this rocket. And then, again, some pink right next to those pink letters. This little label is going to go just below them, but I'm going to put it with a navy label. Maybe I should have the orange showing to bring the orange back in. So those two on a little angle so they're grouped together. And some navy at the bottom of this grouping here, but also a little bit of pink. So I looked at the idea of bringing in something like this, but it's just too big. And I think the key here to make the pink work is to keep it quite small. So I'm thinking even this tag is too big, but if I just take this little piece off the bottom, I'll save the rest of the tag for something else, just pop it back in the set with the rest of my die cuts. And I can have this little piece here. I don't think this needs to be quite so big. There we go. So a little bit of pink with navy throughout the page. I have one big star here. I have a couple more of those same navy stars but in different sizes and shapes. So they can go into a little grouping that actually will be a triangle that goes all the way up here. And that gives me something that pulls this grouping together with this grouping so that it reads more as that vertical line. Now, I think I want a little bit of color over here. So I have, this is a die cut that's not clear, just plain cardstock, but it has a little bit of orange cream to bring those colors back up into this block with the aqua. Lettering in here, and then my big clear piece is going to end up down here, I believe. Okay, why don't I go ahead and get these words in place before I lose track of that. Right now the only thing that's bothering me a little bit about this layout is I don't have something here to mimic this piece here. And I don't have any more of this tape. And I'm thinking, well, I do have the option that there's some behind here, and I could come up here, take what's there, and put it here, but I have a feeling that it would not come off cleanly. I'll just check. It might, because it is a bit like washi, but I have really pressed it down, so not hugely helpful. And this is where if you use a product like Undo is a solvent that lets you remove stickers and then put them back down. But I don't have any, and I'm going to go with another option. Since taking this, some of this off and putting it down here is not really an option, my second thought is to put all these things back that I just moved at the top, and then find another element that could serve the same purpose. So something that's similar in color and feel, and that is one of these labels. This one is a pretty good match for this, even though this one is transparent and this one is not. But I think it will work well in this gap between this photo and the letter stickers. Maybe take a little bit off this right hand side. Yeah. And then this rocket is going to come down here. Now, one of the things that can be tricky with clear embellishments that are not adhesive, like a clear sticker, is how do I adhere it to the page? And basically you want to use something where the way you're adhering it shows on purpose. So I'm going to go with some stitches, but you could also use brads, staples, anything like that, where the method you're using to attach it is actually something that you want to see. You don't want to hide it away. But because I'm going to do this as a top layer over a few different elements, I want to make sure I have everything else on the page, and then I'm going to attach it with some stitches. To make it coordinate with other elements on the page, I'm going to put a little bit of stitching into this group up here and a little bit of stitching into this one too, even though I'm not going to use a whole transparent die cut in all three of those. Then the stitches won't feel like they're only there because this is clear. Now I said at the beginning when I added these letters that I wasn't going to have that be the entire title. I'm going to put just some more letter stickers over the top, and these are not transparent. So that way the transparent letters in the background blend into my layering. But these should stay nice and legible because these are not see-through at all. These are from October Afternoon from the Daily Flash collection. I wanted to have this title with the word slide and the word whoosh because right now I'm finding it quite enjoyable to use titles that have words from his own vocabulary. So when we were going on this slide, that's what he kept saying. Things like, go on the slide again, whoosh. So I don't feel like I have to write all of the entire sentiment every time, but I like trying to make the title out of words that come from him. So that in theory, as he gets older throughout the album, then the vocabulary will advance with him. It's not some sort of hard and fast rule that I'm using on every page, but I think it's something that can work. Now, with a piece like this, I have the text over this lighter print, so it's nice and easy to read, but the rocket does get a little bit lost in the navy. So you can use a little bit of a lighter pattern to add into the layering and make that work again. So I'm going to try with this tag here. And just add another layer underneath, so that when I do put my transparent rocket over the top, you'll be able to see it nice and clearly. I'm just looking at the placement. I think I want to bring it pretty much over to that edge. I want to make sure I don't have any little bits that are going to get trapped underneath. Okay, but that is going to be the last thing I'm going to add, so I want to have a look at the rest here. Now, I'm not going to do enamel dots this time. I'm going to use clear stickers. So this clear sticker sheet has all these smaller stickers in yellow, little yellow stars. And I'm going to use them in the same way that I would use enamel dots, so that I just get these little small splashes of color with the same motif. And I can do that same thing that I normally do, where I place them so they make a little triangle around something else. And then I can bring them up here. Pull those edges behind there. This time I'm just going to have the two, because then they form their own little triangle here with that grouping. But here, three, but then these three can be a triangle too, so you know, you can count them. If you're looking at triangles in your embellishments, you can count them in different ways. Now I wanted to add a little bit of mist to the top and the bottom here, but I tried navy blue originally, and I just tried it on a scrap of paper, and I wasn't loving how it kind of bled into the pattern paper. So instead I'm going to use gold, the gold that I keep using on plenty of pages. There we go. Everything's stitched down. I've just done a little bit of stitching up here, and then underneath both of the words dream. And the only thing I'm going to do here is that I've put these yellow stars here, and I thought I was going to keep them just in that vertical bit, but I'd really like a little bit more down at this bottom right hand corner to help it feel cohesive with everything else. So I'm going to add just a little bit more with the clear stickers, and then it will be completely finished. So die cuts, stickers, washi tape, stickers made from washi. Yeah, they can all work with pattern paper backgrounds. You don't need to use them only on plain white cardstock or plain cream or anything like that. But just choose your patterns wisely for which ones you want to put underneath. And if you get something where it's going to be a little too dark for your design to show, then find a way to add a layer that's light and lets the colors of the transparency shine through. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again soon.